It's good to be back. This is the main event. This is the Gliders. The AFCON might be over, but the Gliders is here to stay. We've been away from, well, not away from your screens because we were in Morocco dishing out contents back to back, giving you the very best from the AFCON in Morocco. And now we are back sitting in our comfy chairs in these beautiful microphones to give you the very best of analysis as far as talking points across various sports is concerned. My name is Emmanuel Sebastian. Privileged to be your host today on our return from the AFCON. Huge shout out to our boss, Euphoria Joy Ojabalu, who couldn't make it today, but I mean, she's the boss, like we always say, and it's good to have the guys back on the show. This is not the entirety of the crew, but I mean, we are back here and healthy from the AFCON. Yeah, it was a wonderful experience from us, and I'll leave the guys to also share their experiences, share their stories from covering the AFCON. For some of us, it is our very first. For some, it is our second. But I mean, it's always a pleasure to cover a major tournament as far as Confederation of African Football is concerned. And for the Gliders, it is special because as a team, as a crew, it's our first major tournament that we've gone out to cover. And when your first is the biggest in the continent, it's a huge pleasure. With that, I welcome you, Timothy, to the show today. Timothy, good to have you back. How was the AFCON experience for you in Morocco?
Yeah,
you had to do that. Yeah, you had to clear out.
yeah, good day to the viewers, and I mean, like you've already said, happy New Year to everyone. This is the first time where I think, I don't know if I can't remember if we wished them when we had one of the episodes.
From Morocco, yeah,
right here in the studio.
Yeah.
Happy New Year to every one of you. For experience in terms of working at the AFCON, I mean, it was really exciting. There are so many words I'm trying to put together an article that would try to display everything I probably went through in Morocco. But I mean, in summary, it was exciting to firstly work with a team closely because when you are working, coming here, you don't live with people, you don't see their everyday life and how it can always be. I mean, I wouldn't have known that Mikolo was such a lover boy. So I mean, stuff like that. I mean, of course, when you come here, all of those things you wouldn't have known. So
exactly, yeah.
I mean, coming close to
in a close space now, we are together.
Myself, lover boy. So
we're talking to our babies, our loved ones.
Many things like that, experiencing it, and then a couple of people that you have probably had connections with. Myself, I mean, had connections with a couple of guys at CAF for many years, but I met them for the very first time. A couple of other colleagues who are not in CAF, but also journalists and media guys, connected with them online, but getting to meet them for the very first time, very interesting. Watching the Super Eagles up close, seeing them in training. I mean, at the point, it felt that, I mean, this is everything. No disrespect to their personality playing. But I mean, you go to the training, you're seeing Ademola just passing by, you're seeing Bassi just passing by. This is someone, many people, they can't just have access to seeing them like that and all that. So it was really interesting to cover the AFCON. And really grateful to everyone who made this possible. I mean, BWGB TV, Elegbete, and I mean, trying to put together a team and finding you worthy to be part of those people that will go and represent is something that is, I don't think is something I'll take for granted, and I'm really grateful. Also working with everybody, really exciting.
All right, really exciting. I mean, I could share your sentiments as well. I remember when I covered my first Super Eagles game live in Uyo. It was a game against Benin Republic under Gennaro Raw. When you watch these players on TV, look them from afar, and you get to be up close with them, you were like, so these people are just human beings like I am. That kind of feeling, So I really share that sentiment. So, and when it becomes consistent, you begin to get used to it over the course of the month and over the course of your job as well. So you begin to get used to it and live up with it, the whole drama, the whole being starstruck and stuff like that. So fantastic, really well. I mean, Mikolo, you've been there, you were in Ivory Coast and now in Morocco. So how would you say these two tournaments has shaped you as far as this industry is concerned?
I think first, before we go into proper analysis of the tournament, I think it's also very good that I can wear just a shirt and flaunt my chain and just wear one suit, singlet, and all of that. It's good to be.
Oh yeah,
We couldn't do that, you know,
I don't get.
for 30 days
I
in
didn't think
Morocco.
anybody was shooting a show this way. So it's good to be back comfy, though it's very hot,
Yeah,
29
it is.
degrees. But I mean, this is what we're used to. I'm able to like wear just a shirt, singlet, and this on top of it. I'm not having to wear 4 clothes, 2 hoodies, 1 jacket, or hand gloves, and all of that.
And your ninja stuff on there.
Yeah, my balaclava as well. So yeah, it's good to be back on the show. I called this Home Sweet Home. When we go back, and it's just really back to be back on the screens. I didn't really appear so much on the screens in Morocco, aside from our whole analysis and all. And then for the tournament, it was really nice. Second time in Morocco, and just like what Timothy said, I think it was also you that said the first time as a crew, a very large crew at that, and it really gave me a sense of fulfillment. The amount of work we were able to put out there in Morocco. I think at the point, I've been to the AFCON before. I went to the WAFCON, and I remember after the WAFCON, I put it out that I felt so proud of the kind of work I was putting out at the WAFCON. Press conferences. And all of those kind of things. Sharing for example, when we were at the press conference, we were sharing our own line with people from Bean Sports, people from Sky Sports, RFI. These are guys that are like professionals in their pitches, in their fields, like people that are coming in from Spain, coming from around the world. So now to also be doing that with a bigger crew was really, really interesting for me. It gave me a sense of pride that we were there with an entire team. I think like we did really big things, irrespective of how anybody wants to make us feel about it. I think it was really beautiful to seeing everybody. We're making our reports for both WGB, for Elegbete. In the press conferences, Timothy was asking the questions, Joy, yourself as well. So it gives you a feeling of a bit of superstardom. Do you understand? Because not everybody gets to make it to that stage. And now you've made it to the first one, second continental, and now for myself, the third continental competition. And now we're also like the talk of the town when it comes to like TV stations, sending people to a tournament. It was really, as much as some people try to make mockery of it, I feel like for me it was just really fulfilling that, I'm part of this kind of thing, and we're really producing like big
Funny, I was
very, very great
funny. I was
content.
talking with Edafe this morning, and we are talking about the mockery side of things. It just gets to startle me when I see that people get to mock.
Yeah.
Or it kind of looks like, they are praising you, but you yourself in your mind, you know that, okay, this is subtle jabs, or what do we call it?
I mean, to be honest, I think he also just like shows the mediocrity that has been so normalized in the industry. Because if you go for this tournament, nobody mocks Sky Sports for sending a team. Nobody mocks people do roundtable discussions at Champions League games. There are people that have TV rights that does these things. Even at the AFCON, there are reserved rights for so many people. People send a team of 10, people send a team of 12 to these competitions, and nobody sees a big deal out of it. So I feel like it's something. It's probably because we are not so used to people doing this, which is why it's also good that we were kind of like aligned with a visionary leader that also sees this thing as normal. And I believe with time it becomes so normal. So I don't know, I think it's the industry that we found ourselves in. People believe that these kind of things are they don't see themselves as big enough to be able to achieve these things, so they feel it is reserved for the big media houses, and which is really, really weird. I mean, if you can do these things from the little that you have, I believe everybody should do it. It collectively just improves the presence of our industry and our nationality on the continental stages. Because I mean, if Elegbete and WGB is partnering to send 8 people, if there are other media houses that are also sending 10 people, 5 people, there's more people that's getting real-time experiences and putting them outside and putting their names outside there. So I mean, I'm not phased, because irrespective of whatever that happened, I mean, we're still doing great work. The worst thing would have been that we're not doing good work. That would have been the bad side of it, if we're not doing good work, or we're just like probably a bunch of rookies that are coming and asking terrible questions, putting out very bad body of work, but I mean the work is there for you to see. We've done really great work in there, and also our subscribers, our followers also like enjoyed a whole lot, and they've been with us, and it was just really beautiful. But on the grand scheme of things, enjoyed myself once again. I struggled personally because of the code, because even without Morocco kind of code, I struggle with code normally. Even here in Nigeria, when it gets really cold, I'm always very aware of my body. I try to be extra careful. So now imagine going from like 27 degrees to like 7 degrees. Struggled for the first few days, and but on the grand scale, when it comes to like AFCON itself, beautiful competition as usual. Morocco, beautiful as usual. Weather didn't really go down well with me, but yeah, we're good.
Yeah, talking about weather, I'd like to pose a question to myself and Timothy earlier. You know, I mean, as you can see on our screens, I mean, lovely crew. There's no rookie in this team.
Yeah.
Everybody is good in their own right. Is fantastic in their own right. I think this picture was taken at the airport.
Yeah, we're coming back.
Coming back to
when our flight got delayed.
coming back to Nigeria. So enjoy just standing pretty in the middle. I mean, somebody asked me a question: why one girl in your crew? I'm like,
Not only a
the person was serious about it. You have like 2 or 3 ladies in the team. I'm like, I don't have an answer to that, but we are happy with what we have. I mean, there's still room for more. I mean, Daffy just mentioned that it would be a team of 15 for the next AFCON, so definitely more ladies will be, added to the team as well. But fantastic. Elebete posed a question earlier on. I was going to ask you, Mikolo, code or heat, which would you prefer? Do you rather stay in the cold or stay in a much hotter place as well? I mean, while we're talking about the cold, in some part of the world now they are minus 30 something.
Canada is going as far as minus 50.
It was 8 degrees in Fairs, and we were crying, we were screaming. So imagine, look at Timothy in reporting. See how he's covered up. You could tell he was cold at this instance. So but 8 degrees, 10 degrees in Fairs, we're complaining about minus 30 something.
Minus 50 in
So
Ontario.
would you prefer such kind of weather, or you'd rather stay warm, stay hot?
To be honest, I think now that I think about it, and also because in Nigeria, I think we're balanced, right? Our weather is not so harsh. So, but I went to Morocco when it was very hot in July for AFCON, and then I went to Morocco when it was very cold for AFCON. I think if you compare both, I would rather go with the hotness. I can't even lie, because of the fact that I believe when it's hot, when you're inside, you can still use the air conditioner to make yourself cold a bit. And
if it's cold, you can also use the heater to make yourself
warm. But the problem
as well.
now with cold is that even going outside, it gets very extreme. When it's very hot, you can just change your clothing. You can still go outside to do your thing. It's not very extreme, and it's not also so much different from what you are used to here in Nigeria if it's hot. Right, so when it was all during AFCON, all you just need change your clothing, take a lot of shower, and all of that. This one that we went for, your body, the way you get sick, I don't think there's so much illness that's attached to being hot. I mean, you can just shower a lot, just increase, drink water a lot, and all of that. I don't think you'll fall sick. But if it's too cold, more than what you are used to, imagine that moment when we landed in Fez. That my funny moment where I had to run, right? And I was making a video and I felt my face was actually freezing, right? And I could feel my mouth. Imagine it was minus 50, something I wasn't really entirely used to in that moment. I mean, a lot could have happened. I'm not even exaggerating if I say that if somebody forced me, like maybe it was a punishment, and they forced me to stay in that weather for 5 or 10 more or 20 minutes, I don't know what would have happened to my body. I can't even lie to you guys, because I could literally feel my mouth freezing in that point. Which is why I also made sure that I get the balaclava. So I don't know. I don't like extreme heat, but I think I would rather go eat than cold.
Timothy, I can guess your answer already from what you passed through in Morocco. But what do you think?
I would actually prefer. I don't know. It's maybe easier for me to say since I've not experienced the extreme cold,
exactly,
extreme cold. Because I mean, if there's minus 50, then what I saw in Fez is actually child's play. But one thing I know is you can always get I don't know, you can always adapt to everything. But based on what I've experienced in Fez, I'll still take the cold because this was my first time in a cold region, and then at a point I began to adapt to it. So it's a case of probably go if you stay there maybe for 5-6 months, then you get used to it. But I mean, I don't know how to get since we came back. I mean, the way I've been feeling so odd, everything is extremely. I've been taking. Normally, my voice is not the clearest at the points because of cough that I had and all that. But I mean, I'm still having to take cold things because I mean everything is so odd. And
but I also think that when you look at the grand scale of things in the world, right? I don't think
that's why I said based on face. I don't want to talk about.
if
I
you
don't
look
put
at the
Canada
world,
now. Maybe
exactly.
I'm talking
if you look at the world, I don't know where the hottest country is, but I don't think there's like extreme hot that is like, I don't know, maybe
compared to
It's
It's
There's
something like
cold.
50, Abi.
I don't think there's like
there
50.
is. I don't
Do you know what I'm saying? So even the hottest, I think the hottest is maybe Kuwait. I don't know if it's as hot. I don't think the degree.
But they can be
we're
50,
currently
shall-
29, right? So I don't know if maybe like the deserts, maybe let's say, is it 50? I don't know. But when you talk about extreme cold, there are places that are very cold. We're talking about minus 50. There are places in Russia that are probably colder than that. Probably like much more colder places.
during the winter, yeah.
So do you understand?
I
so,
get what you're
so
saying.
extreme. When you compare the extremes that are available in this world, I think extreme it is the lesser evil.
I
To be
understand
honest,
what
because
you're saying.
we don't know how cold things can get. We
Let me
don't
check
even know
the
yet.
hottest region.
I mean, for me, I maybe because I haven't been to a more colder region, but if I look at it from the angle of the cold we faced in Morocco compared to the hotness, to be honest, I would go
With the cold.
With the cold. That's why I said maybe because I've not been to
Compared
colder,
to the one that we faced,
compared to what we faced in Morocco. Because I mean, I'm the kind of person who sweats a lot,
Me
always
too, me
feels
too,
hot.
me
So
too.
the cold was refreshing, even though the first few days was kind of a rude awakening for us because we didn't expect it to be that cold, even down to where we are in the apartment as well. It was still cold and all that. We had to,
Yeah,
all
there's a
gloves
place
up
in
and all
Iran
that.
that is 54 degree. There's a place in Tunisia that's 55 degrees. So
You get
it's
so.
crazy.
So
That's
we'll
hot.
just try to, like you said, we'll try to adapt to whatever situation we find ourselves and get used to it. So if you are in the comments, I mean, you've traveled far and wide, you can educate us, you can lecture us, which one.
And even if
is-
you are
is
not,
more-
which one would you actually
even if you are
prefer?
not, which one would you actually
But
prefer?
it's even hard for me to even say, okay, let me just stick to one part. That's why I said based on face because
Yeah.
I struggle.
if you know me very well, I'm not someone that maybe when I want to sleep I have to wear
a lot.
I mean I had to wear something, when you sleep you just want to be free.
Yeah.
But there was no way you want to sleep and you're not wearing about
Guys,
two,
like in my
three
room,
things.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you guys noticed. In my own room in Fez, I put a duvet on my bed
Yeah.
first, but the duvet is not big enough to cover the entire bed, right? Since Edafe left vacated the room, so sometimes when I put that duvet, that's the only time I'm able to sleep on it and then use duvet to cover
You
myself.
know what to
So,
cover
but now imagine like in the midnight, you now mistakenly just turn. And
Go
your
down
hand
to the
touches.
cold.
If your hand touches the other side, that you don't use duvet, bro. Like your hand, like if you leave out your hand out of the duvet, there's a chance of your hand freezing.
Yeah.
Bro, that's
crazy.
crazy.
I mean, it's
Ah.
really, really crazy for most of us who were, new to such, kind of weather. But I mean,
I think it's also
overall-
very weird that even people that were used to weather were complaining about fresh
kind of,
weather.
yeah,
Even people
completely.
that came
yeah.
from like the UK and all of that
yeah.
were
Yeah.
saying how extreme it was.
But I mean, fantastic knowing that you're there for the AFCON. I think for me personally, tops it all, tops the whole code, tops everything because it's where we want to be. It's the dream to cover major tournaments. So yeah, fantastic for all of us and meeting people as well. Going to different cities. And I mean, we did a lot of lives on the show, but some people just stood out with their analysis. The likes of Mr. Calvin, the likes of Mr. Mumini Alao, who they had to take you down memory lane, give you histories, veterans in the game. So it was fantastic. I mean, it's my first real coverage of a CAF tournament, where you had to go and cover a tournament as a media personnel really well, assessing
Not the
press
one you
conference.
sneaked in.
Not the one we
Not the one you sneaked
we
in.
had to go through the back door and all that. But
And
this
the
one,
hiding.
you assess the media center, assess press conference, mix zones. You liaise with foreign journalists who are not Nigerians as well. So wonderful in the end. So, shout out to our sponsors, Bet WGB as well, for making this possible, and to Legbete as well, who stood in place, for us, who more like brokered, facilitated the whole thing for us. But I mean, always a privilege for all of us. So yeah, Bet WGB is standing out, and we hope more to come, more grounds to conquer.
Yeah, I was about to say that,
more
guys.
grounds
You
to
guys,
break, yeah.
I think I was thinking about it yesterday about the fact that we're actually like a formidable team. like I think we have what it takes to like go a long
Yeah.
way. I was thinking about it yesterday that we actually have like a very solid team, and if we can actually get like the funding, the sponsorship for like these tournaments, we are actually very solid.
We're
Yeah.
really
We're
solid,
actually
yeah.
very solid.
Really,
We're
really, really
solid.
solid now, right? I mean, from our producer Khalid Jaye to our boss Dafe Matthew Sergene to
No, I
Joy
mean, look at the
Jabilu,
things we're doing, man.
Smikolo, there's Timothy. Shout out to Jamie as well, who gave us the best of photographs. I mean, look at that for review. The Prince
One of
Mole
our live
at the last stadium. That was one of our live coverages
Bet
for
WGB,
WGB as well. So, you know, it was
My polo.
wonderful. Morocco. Morocco was really, really, really great. I mean, the tournament was
So
great.
this was before that
Yeah.
ill-fated match. This was before the
Semi-final,
semi-final.
Yeah, so fantastic as well. But I mean, shout out to everyone who supported us, who commented on our videos, who subscribed. Shout out to our new subscribers.
Yeah.
We hope to get a couple more as we progress, as we go on as a team, as the Gliders. So thank you for sticking with us. We just had to begin the show with this, and now we'll go on our very first break. And when we return, we'll talk about the AFCON in proper, the football, our general summation, and everything that comes up along the way as far as changes to CAF tournament is concerned. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back, guys. Still the Gliders on BetWGB. We'll continue to slide into the new year. January fast coming to an end. Let's get in on the show proper, guys. While we were in Morocco, the CAF president, Patrice Motsepe, held I think two presses, if I'm not mistaken, where the changes to the tournament to the African Cup of Nations was announced. Major changes, I could tell you for free. I mean, it's a biennial tournament every 2 years. It's been held since the inception, since the AFCON began. It's been held every 2 years, even though in between there's been some inconsistencies, like we had one in 2012, 2013, another one followed where Nigeria won and all that. Now it's going to be held every 4 years. But just before the 4 year cycle will begin, there will be another one in 2027, hosted by Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, and there will be another one in 2028. Timothy, let me start with you. A lot of people have come out to say that this changes CAF just bowing to FIFA's demands for the AFCON to be held every 4 years. Now, all things being equal, what's this terminology now? Is it in economics, ceteris paribus, or what's it called? Considering all things now, do you think this change is the right move from CAF for the AFCON to be held every 4 years, looking at all things considered?
I think it is. And firstly, people would say that was it in 2021 when Patrice Motsepe got in as CAF president, and when Gianni Infantino suggested it and returned it out completely, people would always refer back to that. But in life, there's always that place of growth. And then it's just probably some things I said in 2020, I would not say them now because I have realized that, okay, those things then were probably the wrong things to say. And then looking at the way life can be, or some things I did then, I would not do them now. And that's where growth and realizing that you can always move forward and you can always learn and unlearn things. So for Patrice Motsepe, if he said in 2021 that it was a wrong thing to do, and then in 2025, he now comes out to say that, okay, this is a step.
Thing.
And then not just a decision that Patrice Motsepe himself made. Firstly, people need to understand that there's an executive, what do you call them? Executive, is it committee? Where everybody has an executive, people that have the right to vote in terms of all of these decisions. There was an executive meeting or whatever session that happened, and then this decision was made. So the highest percentage of voters voted for this, and Patrice Motsepe, of course, who is rightly the president of CAF, was the one who obviously was going to announce it. So it's not a Motsepe thing. There could have been a lot of convincing for Motsepe to do as well. But if the people who were supposed to vote voted for it, it means that it's convincing was right, and then putting it in this position is actually good for us. So coming back to the old thing, whether it's a good thing or not, I feel like, we're used to the old 2-year biennial competition that it has always been. But like I did say, there's that place where you can always learn, change things, whatever reasons, of course, there'll be business and business side reasons for this thing
Sure.
in terms of all of these things. If you know Infantino very well, even Motsepe himself, their money guy, is a businessman. Infantino, when he speaks, even Motsepe when he speaks, I mean, Motsepe can buy you with his words, and that's how intelligent
Speaks
he
and
is.
figures.
Yeah, that's how intelligent he is, his words. And even, I think was it early 2025? Emas Faye, the coach of Ivory Coast,
Ivory Coast,
who won
yeah.
the 2023 AFCON 2024 January. He talked about the fact that he would like AFCON to be played for 4 years as well. This was even right before it happened. It was announced. Was it in December or in January? I can't remember right now. Was it the first presser or the second one? But this is a coach who won the AFCON just recently, and in a couple of months, he was talking about the fact that he wants the AFCON to be played every 4 years. I think I also buy that idea, and the fact that this 2 year thing. I mean, let's look at it now. Someone was asking me that there's Nations Cup. The person said Nations Cup. I know when we were growing up, it was always probably called Nations
Yeah.
Cup and all that. The person said, "Oh, there's Nations Cup next year," and I was like, "What are we playing?" Then I said, no, there's not just even Nations Cup next year. There's Nations Cup next year. There's another one in 28, and they was like, so it's not a league. If it's a league, it's a different thing. You know that, okay, a league has to be played every season.
So you're saying if it happens too often, it reduces kind of
Yeah, I know, like I did say.
something we don't see every time. Like it takes something away from
and then it doesn't even make, see now, Ivory Coast, the way let's look at it. The beautiful run in which Ivory Coast won that 2023 AFCON, just in 2024 January, is something you want to tell let's say you want to tell someone who was probably 2 years when they won it. If you had 4 years to it, the person will be 6 years. It's something at 6 years, if you explain to a kid that, okay, this was how we won the AFCON, we were just about crashing out, and then luckily for us, we qualified as best losers. Then we got into the round of 16, we won. We got into the quarterfinal, we beat Mali, then got into the semi-final. Who did they even beat in the semi-final? I can't remember. Then in the final, beat Nigeria, who had beaten us in the group stage. We brought in Simon Adingra in the semi-final, Sebastian Haller, whose first game was the semi-final game against, I can't remember what they played in the semi-final. Like, the game against Nigeria in the final was like his major game in that competition. Those are the kind of stories you want to tell and say, okay, this is something we did back then. But I mean, if you are telling someone now that, okay, this is something that happened, it has not even rubbed off on Ivory Coast that they were just a champion 2 years ago. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's still something you want to extend that, okay, we are champions. We are champions. Okay, who is the current champion of Europe right now? Is it England lost to Spain? Yes, Spain.
Yeah, Spain, yeah.
Spain won it in 2024. I mean, in 2028, when the conversation was setting again, at least Spain would have enjoyed their ride of being the European champions. I think it's high time Africa also does that. If you win the AFCON, enjoy your ride of, okay, in the next 3 to 4 years, the conversation should always be African champions. But Ivory Coast won an AFCON just a few months back, and then all of a sudden, they are no more champions anymore. Senegal in... I think the next one is in June, July. In about maybe 18 months now, they probably, if they don't defend it, then it will be, Senegal were defending champions. There's another new champion. The one that will be played in June, July, the one in 2028, which will probably be June, July again. In another 1 year, then you're already saying, okay, maybe Nigeria, maybe Morocco, maybe Cote d'Ivoire again, or whoever wins it, maybe Egypt, is no more the champion. So all of these things doesn't give you that real shine as a nation to say that, okay, we were once a champion. So I feel like I like the fact that it's going to be for 4 years, and even the clubs themselves, they don't get to really enjoy their players. I mean, we saw our clubs get to lose players just at this AFCON because of, and then in another few months, although that one will probably be in the off season, hopefully there's no change of schedule and all of this, because you could say it was supposed to be June, July, then different factors we have always seen has made the AFCON move from maybe one proposed month to another month. So all of these things are factors that we should try to understand. And then business-wise, I think that it makes more sense for the sponsors, and it makes the excitement even brew more. For nations, you can know that, okay, if I had not played this 2025 AFCON very well, I can come back if I don't play this 25 AFCON very well, I can come back in 2027 and let me just try to override my way into it and get into it. I mean, 2 years back, Senegal were not this good, but all of a sudden, they're already right here, they've won the AFCON. But it gives more time for other nations to actually say that, okay, if this thing is for 4 years, you know that you're going in with a crazy fight. It's not something you just take with levity and say that if you don't win it, I can always come back in 2 years' time to get to win it. But if you know that there's 4 years, the fight will be intense. All of this, Minos being trashed in the first round, and then from the round of 16, we already knew that the path was set for the bigger teams to whether in the part A or part B, the part was already said that from quarterfinals we're going to have a big team clash. All of those things would kind of get to reduce because the smaller nations know that even though we cannot probably get to win it, but at least we can always give a good fight. We can hurt nations. We can let the likes of Nigeria not progress into the round of 16. We can let the likes of Cote d'Ivoire not progress into the round of 16. And when those conversations set in, now okay, let's say Eritrea stop Nigeria from. I'm not saying that this is how it will happen. I'm just trying to say that okay, if Eritrea stops Nigeria from probably getting into the round of 16, the conversation would always linger around them. They will not win the AFCON, but they can always take pride in the fact that we stopped Nigeria from making it into the round of 16 of the whatever year AFCON it is. So I subscribe to the 4-year AFCON thing, business wise. Politically wise, and then you could also say that okay, Motsepe is bowing down because he probably has an ambition to also become the FIFA president one day. All of these things, there are factors that you can accept to, and then if there's an executive board or committee who voted to allow this happen, I mean, Nigeria has an executive committee. All the nations have executive committees, and they decided that they wanted to allow this happen. Then it means that we, the fans, we, the journalists, we stakeholders, or what we can call ourselves, we also have to accept it.
Well, as far as stakeholders are concerned, if you have not accepted it, if you didn't see any sense in it, because, I mean, why would FIFA, because this is something Infantino has been fighting for, since I think I saw a quote from him in 2020 or 20 or thereabout that the AFCON held every 2 years is kind of needless, useless, and all that. So even if a tournament as big as the World Cup is being held every 4 years, why would the AFCON be held every 2 years? At the time, then CAF president Issa Hayatou came out to say one of the reasons why it's been held every 2 years is to make up for Africa's lack of representation in the World Cup, because then we have few teams from Africa playing in the World Cup, not like now where the World Cup has been expanded. We have 9 confirmed plus an extra one, possible one from the playoffs as well. So things have changed, things are moving. So Mikolo, is it a case of why not stick to our 2-year plan and stay consistent with this? I mean, we are CAF, we are Africa. Why bow down to the 4-year scheduling of the thing? Or do you think we don't have what it takes to hold a tournament every 2 years due to the inconsistencies we've seen over the years? We've seen hosts come out, pull out. So all these factors, one of the things
we have what it takes. If that's the question, we have what it takes. I mean, we've always hosted every 2 years, and I think there's never been a time where we failed to host or we didn't get a host, and it's always been like that since probably 19 whatever that we've played. All through while Timothy was speaking, I was trying to see where I stand, right? And to be honest, if you feel like FIFA had an injunction on this, an input into it, you're totally right. And I think that's where people are faulting it. I feel like irrespective of, I think it's also like a accumulation of so many decisions that we'll probably have to take down from FIFA, right, that affects CAF in the fact that we sometimes don't always have to stand by ourselves, have the liberty to stand by ourselves. FIFA, people were trying to do Super League, CAF decided to start Super League. Now we cannot do Super League again. Before you know, they are doing for 4 years. They are imposing it on us to do for 4 years, and we're trying to go there. But we've not consider the fact that as a cultural thing, as people that grew up watching the AFCON, we've always been used to the fact that every 2 years we always watch the AFCON. Generation of talents that always come through the AFCON, the cultural influence of all of these things, the cultural influence, like the carnival that always happens. I think 4 years is looking a bit too far for me, because every 2 years we always get to see a new country, see new hosts, see new countries always come. For example, look at Cape Verde. Imagine Imagine they had only 4 years to come and display themselves, and the generation of talents that has come through in the last 2 or 3 AFCONs that they've shown themselves properly. Sadly, they were not able to make it to this one. Now, imagine that they had only 4 years, right? The last one that, imagine the 2023 AFCON did not hold. How would we have seen what Cape Verde are capable of doing? Now they didn't qualify for this. It means we'll probably not have seen Cape Verde in active international football in the last 4 years. Waiting up onto this one, they've not qualified, which means
we can see it in 4 years. So you say that time is
it is generation of players. I mean, I feel like, for example, now look at Nigeria, for example. Okay, I think Nigeria is a bad example because we always have generation of talent come out every year, every 2 years. But imagine a Victor Osimhen. Now imagine after 2019 that he didn't get to play. The next time that he got to play was probably 2023, and probably go enjoy like the likes of Victor Boniface or Wilfred Didi that didn't make the last one, eventually made this one. Now I feel like the timing for the showcasing of talent is expanded, is enlarged, and I feel like we should at least have something for ourselves for the very first time. The fact that they are having the Euros every 4 years, having the World Cup every 4 years, I think there's an undertone to what Infantino said, and it's also laying the complaints of what the clubs have always attached to the AFCON. It has always been labelled as a disturbance. If you look at the undertones, right, of what we've seen, the likes of Klopp, when Klopp said it was a small tournament some years ago, the likes of Jamie Carragher coming to say it's not a major tournament. Why are we not standing our ground to show that, okay,
and Fabregas too recently we talk about his players, said it was like the club pays the player,
so it is another tone. There are like subtle nuances in some of these discussions. So it has always been, we all know that Patrice Motsepe is very smooth talker, so he's always going to come outside to say, oh, we've looked at the figures, we thought about this properly, but what about the other contexts that are under? What about the things we've heard Europeans say about the tournament? What about the things we've heard this club say about not wanting to release their players for the tournament? When you look at this, who does it favor? Does it favor us as Africans? I don't think so. I think who it favors is the club sides that are getting to release their players every 4 years now. Before the world became what it was, AFCON is always 2 years, and clubs are entitled to drop their players. But because we've been seeing so many complaints in recent times, why are we putting the tournament in January, February? Why are we putting it in June, July? There's been so many complaints about, we are going to be missing our players. We've seen Jurgen Klopp come out to say that because it was only affecting him with the likes of Sadio Mane as well as Mo Salah.
Yeah.
So these are the undertones that I'm seeing in all of these things. It's not necessarily just for our footballing image, or we are trying to make it more valuable. It has always been valuable. AFCON will always be valuable, even if it is played every 2 years, because it is a cultural thing. I mean, Nigerian football supporters are not getting tired of traveling every 2 years. They will always show their colours. South African fans will come. Mama Africa will come. We'll see Cape Verde and their fine women every 2 years. I mean, we don't get tired of it. That is our own cultural carnival. That is what we've grown to love. Now, this looks like something that shoved down our throats, just like what the African Football League that was shoved down our throats. Now you are telling me that in the place of AFCON happening every 2 years, you're not going to introduce a league.
Yeah, Africa.
So where truly is this coming from? Was this a result of the board, of people that are making decisions at CAF, or is this something that is passed on to them in the meeting that they are having at the FIFA level? So these are some of the things that you see. I think it's very easy to fall for the tip of the tongue things that Motsepe says, but if you look at the undertone, look at some of the things that we've heard over the years about the AFCON happening every 4 years, and look at who this totally favors, and I don't think it favors us as Africans, because fine, you want to make the international windows more competitive by introducing a league, but where is the place of the cultural carnival that we are so used to every 2 years? Now we have to wait every 4 years for us to gather in one place to celebrate our football. Meanwhile, you are pitching teams, so it means the chances of we even seeing a Cape Verde versus Nigeria is now limited to every 4 years, because in the middle of those 4 years we are going to be playing a league. Is it Super League or what is it?
Football.
A football league, which means a Nations League. Now, Nations League is by
just
tiers.
to come in between and limit
So Nations League is by tiers,
anger,
right?
yeah.
The Nations League is by tiers, just like it is played in Europe. The top 8 teams are playing in their own competition. The next 8, or whatever it is. So it means there's no even football festival. It's not a direct replacement. We're basically going to be seeing Nigeria versus Senegal, Nigeria versus Egypt, Nigeria versus Morocco every international window. So where's the point where Eritrea is knocking out Nigeria in the AFCON tournament every two years? So I believe that it's taking off the excitement of it. Fine, every 4 years, whatever it is that's going to come after every 4 years. But I just believe that we have what it takes. We've always had the sponsors to come in. It is whatever you define as the numbers that the brands will define for you. What you define as 4 years, the hype that you attach to 4 years is when the brands will come. For every time we've done every 2 years, we've had the brands come because we pay attention and we give importance to those 2 years. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm trying to say. If you if you tell sponsors now that it is 4 years that makes sense, that's what they're going to believe. But if you stand your ground and say 2 years that makes sense, we're always going to have sponsors. We've seen an increase in the number of sponsors and in the number of views in the last 3 AFCONs. 2025 Morocco, 2023 and 2021 as well in Cameroon.
And broadcast as well.
Broadcast due. So it's been a steady rise. There's been no shortage. So why are we limiting it to 4 years? It's not like we run out of sponsors. Probably that excuse can fly for the likes of CHAN tournaments that we are struggling to get sponsors for. But for the African Cup of Nations, there are always people that are going to turn up and come on board. So I don't think it's a right decision. Looking at it now, I don't think it favors. I think it favors the Europeans more, and I'm just so disappointed. As much as I like Patrice, I like his business acumen and all of the figures, and trying to make everything more profitable. But I just believe that with this one, it was really goofed.
Contrasting views on set. Timothy wants to see it every 4 years. He's okay with the decision. Mikolo doesn't want to see it. He wants it to continue for 2 years. But as far as this decision is concerned, there are pros and cons for both the 2 years and for the 4 years. I mean, how many African countries, as it stands, can host an AFCON? Because Morocco has been stepping up to save African football as far as hosting tournament is concerned. I mean, some of them have even come out to say that Africa doesn't deserve Morocco. You were here when me and Edafe was recording an under-20 player who, of course, Morocco won the under-20 World Cup. He come out to say Africa doesn't deserve Morocco because of all the sticks they get, because every time they come up to host tournaments, still other African countries are trying to talk down on them and all that.
How many AFCONs have they hosted?
I'm just, based on what they have right now, I think they are the very best when it comes to facilities and hosting tournament. They are in line to host the Club World Cup, in line to host the World Cup as well. So if you look at this holistically, how many African countries can host an AFCON? So maybe that's one of the pros for hosting it every 4 years.
We've not repeated that host in the last how many tournaments?
As it stands, it's looking like
we've not repeated, but
it's looking like we might have a repeat.
We've changed hosts many times. I remember
Guinea was supposed to host this one.
There was one
they
before,
pulled out.
I can't
Morocco
remember,
stepped
maybe
in.
the 2019 also. I don't think it was Egypt that was supposed to host. The one Algeria one. It was someone else that was supposed to host, and then Egypt had to come in. I've changed hosts a couple of times, even though we have not repeated hosts.
So when you look at that, you want to say, okay, 4 years gives a host enough time to get their acts together, prepare facilities and all of that. I want to see every 2 years as well, but there's been some inconsistency. If it's 2 years, let it stay for 2 years. Not when it's 2 years, you play it a year and you name it after a year before. I don't know if you get what I'm
the
trying
ones
to
that
say.
have happened a year has been as a result of COVID.
The COVID has actually.
So
it has affected not just we, even the Euros as well and all of that.
But I think it's been corrected now. And
it's
I think
now
that
been
was why they
corrected.
put this AFCON December, January.
Yeah, so
by next year, if by next year it's corrected, because then we'll play
AFCON
in
2026,
AFCON 2027. So it's corrected by then.
But there's a one in 2028. Remember,
and that one is to launch. It's because it's to launch the
4 year
run.
chapter.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it was supposed to be 2 years, I mean, trust me, the next one would have been 2029. So.
Yeah, talking about the African Nations League, just to come in between that 4 year wait for the next AFCON. I mean, it was also the second big announcement from Mosepe in one of the presses. So it will involve all 54 member associations on the continent to take place every year in designated FIFA international breaks across September, October, and November. We wait to see how this one will pan out because there's the FIFA World Cup qualifiers, there's the AFCON qualifiers. In the UEFA Nations League, sometimes it serves as qualifiers for the Euros, for the World Cup as well. So maybe similar thing will happen with the African Nations League as well. The continent will also be regionally divided into 4 parts: 6 countries in the North African zone and 16 teams in each of the other 3 regional divisions. The winners of each regional grouping will then contest the finals. So, I mean, Mosepe is yet to confirm whether this will be a 4-team or a 20-team event, but we wait to see how this one pan out. I mean, something we love change, and when it's being implemented, we want to see how it goes when it starts. Then we can see if this is sustainable.
What you just read
or not.
is for the league.
For the African Nations League, so kind of the format and how it's going to be. So let's keep our fingers crossed.
Most likely like that, because if you are grouping if you are grouping the North Africans together, then I mean it's almost like that.
So I mean, wait to see how this one is going to pan out.
I've been really skeptical about that. Though I know the advantages. The advantages is that people in the same region travel less and get things done.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I believe a lot of times this whole halfway and thing has really robbed us of fielding our best teams in some of these tournaments. For example, the World Cup, all of these women's thing. You see, majority of the very good teams are from West Africa. But if there can be only one, probably obviously Nigeria, the likes of Cameroon, the likes of Ghana are struggling to make it to tournaments because unfortunately they have to play against the youth teams of Nigeria every qualifier. Meanwhile, you see. Let's move on.
Wait to see how this one will go. But one thing is certain. He said in that presser that there will be no need for Chan if this Nations League comes into play. So I mean,
how is he a replacement for Chan?
We didn't come out per se to say it's a replacement.
That's one of the things that makes him a sweet talker.
So,
did not say it's outrightly that
there will be any need for Chan if this happens. So that's according to the words. So I mean, there's the CAF Cup as well. There's the CAF Cup. So many regional tournaments played across Africa. So we wait to see how this is going to affect all of this and see how this one will go.
Sad.
Yeah, really sad.
No City player in national team.
But that's it about that and the changes for AFCON. The guys have shared their thoughts. I mean, the show is always interactive. You can tell us in the comments, are you on the side of a 4-year AFCON or a 2-year AFCON? Remember, there's going to be an AFCON in 2027 and 2028 before the 4-year cycle.
2028 is to launch the 4-year cycle.
To launch the 4-year cycle.
Who would you wish?
I mean, we just want to travel, go to see different countries host because it gives a lot. It gives a lot to every. When you host a tournament, I mean, it adds a lot to the country as a host nation. Nah, please.
Will I go first?
But I mean, we hear South Africa and Botswana are in the picture. Two countries not too far away from each other, both Southern African countries. So hopefully they get the rights, and South Africa will make a good host, and let's see how that one pans out. But we have one before that one, so let's take it one tournament
Nigeria is not even in the conversation.
Time. Even Commonwealth Games we try to host, we don't know if we were serious about it.
We're actually joking because I mean, you can't tell me that.
We're not serious about it. All right, guys. So let's talk about the AFCON proper now. Morocco, good host, no doubt. In your own words, Mikolo, how would you sum up the AFCON overall, generally, in terms of the football, in terms of facilities? Of course, Morocco, the people are nice. I don't know if they've been not nice to anyone, but as far as we as a crew is concerned, nice people all around us. But how would you sum up the football played at this AFCON in total? Were the winners deserved in the end? Were you excited with the football you saw? Are you excited with your movement in Morocco and everything? Generally, how would you sum it up?
I think they were very great hosts. Obviously, very great people, very nice people. They care so much about their image. They are really nice. A random person on just the streets of Fez is not waiting for their government, for the prince to speak good about their country. They are doing good for you as a person, just so you can have like a very good image of their country, which is a very good sense of nationality that I noticed from Moroccans. We were in a cab one day, and somebody was just really very excited to tell us about Morocco. He told us that there might be bad sides as well, but don't take this back to your country. This is the nice part. Like, we're very nice people, and I think that's really one thing that defines what the AFCON was for us. Because the vendor on the street is trying to make Morocco look nice to you, so they are attending to you properly. They are trying to speak English. They are trying to help you with buying things. There was a random act of kindness that we got from a kid that ran how many miles away to get us nose marks. So that's like really, really beautiful. The drivers, Labi was really, really helpful with us. So very, very nice people. And I think from then on, he also translated to the hosting of the competition. He made life easier. Navigating the train station now takes us to infrastructure. I think they have one of the best infrastructures in Africa. They have one of the best railway system as well. Made it very easier for us to commute to some of the other places. Luckily, we're also one of the crews that we could also cover. We covered games in all of the cities that hosted this thing, and that was due to very great infrastructure. As you can see on the screen, this is Tanja. This is one of the numerous stadiums that hosted the AFCON, and just really beautiful infrastructure.
Over 70K
was
capacity.
so nice, so really, really beautiful places, really, really beautiful stadiums. Railway system, like I've said, was very easy. Some of these places you can go one day, come back the next day. Was very easy for us. I think this is Fez. This was where we were situated in Fez. This was where the Super Eagles played. And for those that are also listening, Fez is like having a world-class stadium in Kano. You understand, like an Asian city, having this kind of stadium that can also host a very great tournaments like that. And I think one interesting fact that fans also need to know, like I've said before, is the fact that when we wait for the WAFCON in July, majority, or let me say 90 or 100% of the facilities that were used were not used in the AFCON. 100% of the facilities were not used in the AFCON. This is Agadir, another beautiful one. I mean, Agadir was not even used for the WAFCON. So means all of the training facilities, all of the AFCON, all of the stadiums that were there were just resting and just being maintained ahead of the AFCON. So for the WAFCON, it was just Casablanca and Rabat that were used. And then, but for this new WAFCON in March, they're going to be using Casablanca, Rabat, as well as Fez. And then this is the big one. Man, this is
Prince Moulay Abdallah.
I mean, I saw tweets from even European-based journalists that came for the competition, got in here, and they were really amazed, right, about how big and how beautiful it was. So and I think the infrastructures also made it very beautiful for the football. Somebody mentioned that the reason why we had the top teams and no major surprises were the fact that technical football was on display in this competition. And I think I somewhat agree.
That's true. There was no result that you felt
like... There was no shocking results because of the fact that we didn't need to just play physical football at this tournament. This was aside from the shit show that happened in the final, this was a beautiful display of African football, a beautiful display of the players that we have, a beautiful display that Europeans were even following back to back because the football was really, really nice. And I think he also made sure that we were only represented by the best of the best when it got to the quarterfinals. The teams that were not really technically up to par were really knocked out in the round of 16 or in the group stages. Before now, I mean, you can always rugged your way to the latter stages through just playing adult football, physical
and
football.
One outside shots,
do you understand?
Just take you off guard.
I've seen it happen. No disrespect to some of these teams at the last AFCON, the likes of Angola. They'll just bully you, play some kind of football, and then they made their way up onto the quarterfinals where Nigeria knocked them out. So it was always going to be tough. But you could see technical ability on display. Some of the goals that Nigeria played, I believe this has been our best football that we've played since before the World Cup in 2018. This is one of the best football that we've played
since before the World Cup in 2018.
In 2018, before the World Cup, I think the football that we've played in this competition was one of the best in the last that's talking about like
As,
last
as the
8
show
years.
goes on, we'll come back.
Yeah,
We'll come back
we'll
to
probably
that.
maybe.
There's a question I want to pose on that, but
Yeah, so maybe
we'll
I
come back to
think so. That I can remember. Okay, maybe in 2021, the group stages we blew out teams as well.
it.
So yeah, that was beautiful football. And that I think Eguavon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we played very beautiful. But I think this is, I think even from the players' perspective, if you watch Alex Iwobi's vlog and some of the interviews that you've seen, they also felt that this was one of the most beautiful football that we've played recently. Big ups to Eric Chell for that, for also unlocking a type of attacking football that we eventually now got to love in this tournament. Also, the players that came to the party, like Akko Adams, made sure that we played that football really well. I mean, also having the likes of Onyeka and Ndidi gave Alex Iwobi a chance to show us what he's also capable of when it comes to like playing forward football. I mean, for people that are surprised, this has always been Alex Iwobi. This has always been his style. But for now, he has ball winners, people that can always win the ball and give it to him. And then he has multiple outlets of people that are now making the runs for us to be able to play this kind of football. So generally speaking, on football-wise, I think this was one of the best AFCONs that we've seen. Great goals, great football on display. Big teams came to the party: Morocco, Egypt, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Cameroon, Nigeria, and you know, some of these teams that made, all of the teams that made it to, I think is also one of the tournaments where the teams that were tipped to make it to the latter stages made it to the latter stages. I saw a tweet by Jarus. Unfortunately, I didn't take a screenshot, so our producer cannot put it out. He made a list of all of the teams that came to the AFCON, and he mentioned the top 4 teams that are able to win. He grouped them: contenders, outliers, and then people that just came to waste their time. So and then obviously the teams that he tipped to make it to the finals, the teams that are able to win, Senegal won it. So I think that was also due to the infrastructure that was there, very great pitches that we could play football on. So really nice tournaments. I'm really sad at how it ended because a lot of very great football was on display. But you know how it is with content and clickbait. The bad side gets the much numbers. So everybody's holding on to those moments. So for example, now we're not even talking about a whole lot of other things that happened during the AFCON. Mbappe scores the Panenka. It is dedicated to Brahim. It is linked to that ugly incident. Meanwhile, there's lots of other things that happened after AFCON that should be lingering in our hearts after the tournament. But now, a lot goes into just that moment. I've seen some, white racist remarks by Joe Barton or whatever his name is, making so many rubbish, ugly comments, trying to hold that incident as what defines the AFCON, which is really, really sad. And then you just like you're giving ammunition to people that have always found a reason to talk down on, whether it's a major tournament or not. But because if we're looking at it from just the quality of football, I mean, I think what will be pulled off in Morocco can rival whatever it is that they pull off in the Euros and even the Copa America and whatever it is.
And I definitely agree, no doubt. Forget about the fact that there were some antics from Morocco, the towel incident where they had to disrupt the flow of goalkeepers and all that. It was a fantastic tournament as far as the football in Morocco is concerned. We'll go on another break, and when we return, we'll talk about the Super Eagles and their run to the AFCON Golden Bronze winners. Don't you go anywhere, I'll be right back. Welcome back, guys, to the Gliders on BetWGB TV, our very first show since we returned from Morocco for the AFCON. Picking up from where you left off, Morocco, you said this team played the best football you've seen since 2018. Then you went on to say, okay, maybe 2021. Yes, it was fantastic in Cameroon. Eguavon-led team, fantastic football in the group stage. This is a direct question. I'm going to put it out to you guys. Let me give you a bit of a breather. Let me start with Timothy. Pesero's AFCON team, all the way to the finals, lost out against Ivory Coast. Eric Shell's AFCON team, good football, lost in the semi-finals to host nation Morocco on penalties, end up winning bronze. Which of the team would you prefer?
I think you're trying to put me on the spot. But as a writer, most times, if you read my articles, you know that I like to be nuanced in my analysis. So as much as you can say the A side.
You can look at it from all angles: the football,
The A
everything,
side,
the
A side has
team.
a positive, the B side has a negative, the B side has a positive, the A side has a negative. So, for Pesero's run to the final,
Mm.
no doubt, winning the silver medal and then just a few moments. I mean, we could have won that game if not just from like a couple of moments where players probably slept and all that. So we could have been talking about probably winning the 2023 AFCON. No doubt, winning a silver medal is very huge. And when you lose in the final, I'm not just losing in the final, but in a competition where you have to beat one of your I don't want to say. I don't know if I'll say South Africa is a rival, but we beat them on penalties. You had to also beat a close rival in Cameroon,
The round of
and
16.
getting to that stage where you now play in the final against the hosts, and where everywhere was so orange. I mean, just like the way everywhere was so red when Morocco played against Senegal. I think huge credit to that. I'm not going to downplay whatever Pesero achieved. As a person, and I enjoy beautiful football. Normally, I coached my department mates. I coached in faculty level as well. I was always a protagonist of let's play interesting football. People have come here. I know, okay, competition most times is all about winning, but as much as we want to win, we can play beautiful football. Pep Guardiola has done it. So many coaches have done it. They've won titles. They've won cup games. They've won cup trophies by playing beautiful. When I mean play beautiful, I don't mean I'm just passing the ball around, possession football, but I'm playing in a dynamic way that's very interesting. When you get the ball, try to be as quick as possible in terms of decision making, in terms of the quality of goals you score and all of those things. So all of those things were not peculiar with what Nigeria did at the 2023 AFCON, but it would not take away the fact that Nigeria won a silver medal, which is of course above a bronze medal. I mean, in some competitions, let's say in the UEFA Euros, in the Copa America, and all of those, I'm not saying we should change ours. A third place game would not hold. Even in the UEFA Champions League, nothing like a third place game. So let's factor in that there was no case to play a third place game. Nigeria will probably not be coming with a medal. And when you don't come in with a medal, you can't say you are the third best placed team. It just means that you and Egypt, you're on the same level. So, but now we are saying this because, okay, there's a third place game to play. So, but coming back to Eric Chelsea's team, firstly, the way we played all through the World Cup qualification and so many doubts. I mean, I saw so many people that were so doubtful about Nigeria doing well at this AFCON came in, and you would not fault them for being in that space of thoughts because of how Nigeria played all through the World Cup qualifier. But Eric Chell took it. The first game against Tanzania, we saw how that Nigeria were decent, even bar the goal that we considered back post and all of those things, the way we played the football, it kind of excited you and you felt that, okay, there's something that could come out of this team. They were not carried away. Against Tunisia tried to be tough, or not until I think the 44th minute when Osimhen got that goal, and then in the second half the goals came in, then 45, and then before Tunisia could get the goals. I'm trying to it's been interesting playing under Eric Chell, round of 16, quarter final, even in the semi final where they tried to play against every antics, the fans and all of those things. They still held their ground, and if you lose out in a semi final game on penalty, then I would not fault you. So I'll pick none, but I'll give credit to both. Eric Chell, good football, continuity is needed. I think this is the kind of coach that takes you to a tournament and you feel like, okay, there should be progress in terms of what he's trying to build. Jose Peseiro, good one, took us to the final, was almost close to winning the gold. So I'll stick with that.
Anyways, because when you said I'll pick none, but you give credit to both, I wanted to say we don't do that here, but because of time constraint. But I mean, Eric Shell, beautiful football, Mikolo, highest goal scoring team at this AFCON. Yes, we know trophy hierarchy will come to play. Silver is always going to be bigger than bronze, but I mean, Richel's team was fantastic. So, are you gonna go with Shell or Pesero's team? You saw both AFCONs close up on pitch side.
Yeah,
you saw
I
the
think
teams.
maybe not like Timothy, but I'm going to give credit, yes, to Jose Pesero, but I think I'm going to stick with Eric Chell. I think for Jose Pesero's AFCON, we had our hearts in our mouths a lot of the time. We considered position too much. We gave respect to teams that were even beneath us, that didn't have the quality of players that we had, and we were playing on the back foot for a lot of times.
Lots of games, yeah.
A lot of the games we were
Many
playing.
even see that as well as one of the reasons why we lost the final.
Yeah, that was also why we lost the final. Yeah, in my own opinion, because we're winning goals by just 1-0, and then we're just comfortable with that, and we went out all the way to the finals, right? Yes, we got to the finals of that tournament, but I still was not confident. There was not any game where we had like a very convincing performance. Yes. Now that I'm thinking about it, there was not a game where we had like a dominating performance, maybe except the game against Cameroon in the round of 16, in the Angola game in quarterfinals, in the semi-finals against South Africa. Oh my God, we suffered a lot. Mokoena showed us shiggy in that midfield. We suffered a lot, and then in the final as well, we scored against the run of play. Trustekong in that first half threw a corner kick that he headed in, and then from then on it was just orange all through, even to players that probably would not even play as much as Alex Iwobi on his own day. So I feel like for Eric Chell, we had a very good system. He played to the strength of our players. For Jose Pesero, I feel like we're playing with the spirit of the game. You know, we're just going with the spirit of the game. We're just playing tournament football, trying to just get to the next stage and all that. You know, just passion football. Guys were just fighting for their lives, basically. Onyeka was just running everywhere. Alex Iwobi were running into the ground. Ademola Lookman and Osimhen, you know, Osimhen was defending. Osimhen didn't even get goals. Yes, I think also the strength of a team is also based on how much your attackers are producing, how much assist your midfielders are getting. In the AFCON in 2023, we're not even bothered about that. Osimhen had just 1 goal. Ademola had 3. I mean, and Osimhen was not even bothered because Osimhen was doing defensive duties. We were on the back foot a lot of the times. We were marking so many times in the AFCON 23. In this one, we were going into games feeling like we could dominate teams.
Even the statistics when CAF released it, Nigeria had average possession of 66%.
So I mean, most. In the AFCON 2023, our MVP was William Trustekong. That's to show you how many activity he had. I mean, if your MVP is a defender, then it means he was so much active. Yes, goals. It was a leader, but he was leading from the defense, and that says a lot about what we're playing then. But if it's Eric Chell, we have 3 players in the team of the tournament. 3 players: Calvin Bassey, Ademola Lookman, and Osimhen. So I mean, we were very much more entertaining in this competition. Sad that we lost out on penalties. I mean, penalties anybody's game, and anything could have happened. The boys were also happier in this tournament. Yes, Rafael Onyeka didn't get a minute last tournament. This tournament we were able to like share the minutes amongst ourselves.
Scored 2 goals as well.
We also were very comfortable going into the last game against Uganda. We had already gotten 6 points. In AFCON 2023, we drew our first game before we won the third game, and then beat Ivory Coast, and then there was no chance to even rotate the squad. So yes, I feel like the vibes in camp was much better this time around. We're playing very entertaining football. Players were able to express themselves more. Ademola Lookman, Wilfred, Alexander Iwobi, Wilfred Ndidi, Rafael Onyeka, Calvin Bassey. So the volume of players that had a very great tournament in this competition was much more than those that had in the last tournament. I think that's a parameter to show that we had.
So irrespective of silver, bronze,
I feel like we missed out on penalties. There was not any game in this tournament where somebody outplayed us.
Fair enough. For those of you in the comments, you can tell us which of the team you preferred. I know silver is always going to be greater than bronze, but did you enjoy Eric? I wanted to mix both names together. I was about to say Eric Pesero. So do you enjoy more of Pesero's team, Jose Pesero's team, or Eric Sekushel's team in this back-to-back AFCONs we just witnessed? I mean, we just have to make our return on the show today all about the AFCON because time is really, really fast running out, and it's been a wonderful time on the show today. Don't forget, it's always interactive. Drop a comment, tell us what you think, continue to share, like, and give us the very best of reviews that you can. We know club football is still on. The Champions League will come to the end as far as the group stage is concerned this week, so we'll be here on the next edition of the show to give you a breakdown. The MPFL still very much in the mix of things as well, so still a lot to talk about as far as the show is concerned and as far as football is concerned. Moving on, it's been a wonderful time doing this with Mikolo and as well with Timothy. The rest of the crew, you will catch them on as we go on for the rest of the year. My name is Emmanuel Sebastian. I will be signing out. Enjoy the rest of the day and also enjoy the very best of the week and whatever 2026 gets to bring. Emmanuel Sebastian signing out. Bye-bye.
Subscribe.